You're listening to the Public Health Entrepreneurs Podcast with your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley. Welcome to Public Health Entrepreneurs. This is the podcast for visionary leaders who are ready to transform public health and any other industry that you have expertise in through innovation. I'm your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley, and I am a public health entrepreneur with over 25 years of experience. My background includes healthcare and public health, so I understand the unique challenges and the opportunities that come with bridging multiple disciplines. If you are an interdisciplinary professional, a leader with expertise across different fields, then you are in the right place. On the episode today, we're going to talk about measuring success beyond revenue. This also stems from a question I received through the website where someone asked, how do you measure success beyond revenue? This is a great question. I think it's something that we can talk about, and it'll be a pretty quick answer for you because although I do encourage you to have a monetary value, like a goal for where you want your business to be in terms of revenue, by definition means the money that you bring into your business. I'm not a bookkeeper or accountant, so I won't go into details about profit and loss and all those things. But revenue represents the income, the money that you earn through your business, just to make sure we're on the same page. So having, say my business earned $10,000 the first year, or my business earned $10,000 the first half of the year, or $10,000 last month, or my goal is to earn $10,000 through my business every single month. Okay, so whatever your revenue goal is, I think it's wonderful to have. And being able to say, okay, the goal was $10,000 for the month, and we earned $8,000 for that month, then you can still count that, okay, that's successful. We were just shy of the goal, but we had this project. You can start to understand where you were, or you may say the goal was $10,000 in revenue and we earned $12,000 for that month. And then you're like, this was successful. We exceeded the goal and you're excited, right? So having a revenue goal, having that revenue as a measure of success for your business, people reach a milestone of hitting, 6 figures for their business. Like having a revenue goal as a measure of success for your business is wonderful, absolutely incredible to have, great to have. I want you to feel good about that. If your goal is multiple 6 figures, $500,000 in the year is the goal for the business, and we accomplished $600,000 in revenue for the business, and you're measuring success, I applaud it all. I'm here for it all. I encourage you to have that revenue goal, okay? I make all that really, really clear. The question, though, is how do you measure success beyond revenue? So I think we're going to assume that everyone understands the value and the importance of measuring success to revenue. Whatever your revenue goals are defines success for you, because earning $10,000 for that year in your business, if that is your goal, that could be your measure of success, right? So it's individual. But beyond that, for me, it's very simple. Beyond the measure of revenue, it is impact. For me, success is impact. Sometimes that revenue goal is very closely related to the impact, because having a large revenue goal and accomplishing increased revenue in your business allows you to have greater impact. Okay, let me explain what I mean by this. I'm going to use a speaking situation. When you're a speaker or you take on speaking engagements, that's part of your business. It would be wonderful to say, I only speak, I'm not doing any free speaking events. I'm only going to get paid and my minimum is this, and that's your measure of success. That is absolutely once upon a time, that was exactly the way I thought. But there are also these opportunities to speak that don't come with a nice big paycheck. The revenue, they may offer you an honorarium and maybe cover your travel. Or sometimes it could be an incredible speaking opportunity, but it is lower their budget for paying speakers is lower than what you normally receive. So in those moments, you make a decision about what to do, and that decision is completely up to you. That's why you own the business and you're in charge. So the measure of success, if you are going to speak at an event, and maybe you get paid 5 figures to speak, but that event is only able to give you maybe a couple $1,000s as an honorarium, and you decide to do it anyway, and you knock it out the park, right? So one of the measures of success in this situation is not going to be the revenue, because you would normally get paid $10,000 to speak, but for this engagement, they paid you $5,000. So if we only measure it by revenue, then it looks like it was not successful. However, maybe you spoke to a crowd of people that was so hungry to hear the message that you had, and they would not have otherwise heard from you. You were able to plant seeds in the audience members, and it was such a transformation for them listening. They were inspired. Maybe it's a group of young people, and they were inspired to hear you speak, and you were able to, they left there excited and repeating the things that you shared in your speech. And you got such positive feedback, and it changed them. Maybe they now are viewing something differently because of something you said. Like, that's impact. And that's something that you can use as a measure of success. So I'll give you an example from personal experience. And that's why I'm talking about speaking, because I did have this experience. I had the opportunity to speak at a venue that was very near and dear to my heart. It's a huge coliseum. And you would think that they would have a lot of money to pay good speakers. I mean, it's the first time I had these Jumbotron screens, and there was my face there, and there's a weird echo in the building because I had to learn about a whole different set of challenges in terms of the audio setup that I wasn't used to. And I had like a little escort, walk me in, and I had the backstage experience of a big venue like that. And it was really exciting. But they didn't have the big budget that I receive when I go into some of the smaller workshop settings where I get paid really, really well. But because I made the decision to go there, it was more sentimental. And plus, I had so many good paying, higher paying ones. From a revenue perspective, I was very successful in that aspect, that I could choose to be a little bit more philanthropic on this venue because it was more of a sentiment. But that experience, I remember the people that were on the stage with me, gave me a special gift when I finished. They gave me a standing ovation when I finished. These are my peers on this stage. They were so grateful. It led to 2 other opportunities. One was to be featured in a magazine for the first time in my life. I'd never been in a magazine, like the old school magazine that you actually touch and turn the pages. So it turned into that opportunity for me. And then there was another opportunity that was a paid opportunity to develop another program from someone. So that event turned into more, opportunities for me. But the impact, I was able to pour into a group of folks that were sitting where I sat about 20 years before. And I was on an earlier phase of my journey, and I met them in that spot. So they were excited to hear from me because I represented to them someone that had completed that milestone they were completing. And I had gone and lived it for 20 years. And I came back to talk about what I experienced. And that was so valuable to them. Every face in that audience was just bright and staring right at me the entire time that I spoke. The people toward the back were like leaning to the left and the right to kind of, get beyond the heads of the other people in front of them so they could see me. And that was huge impact. I had family members that joined in the crowd, and they left. I have a relative that started reciting. I had like 3 takeaways, and I kept things very simple in 3 because I thought, I want them to, I like to do that often. So I had people that were reciting the things that I was talking about, not just that day, but I'm talking months later, even a year later, still remembering my takeaways and my points. So I'm saying all that to say it was, both revenue-wise, it did turn into other opportunities. That was a great impact. But the faces and the people in the audience, the people that I was speaking to, that I was brought there to speak to, I represented something to them that was so much more meaningful, and they were such a great impact than the money could ever represent. So that was a huge, wildly successful engagement for me, even though the revenue did not match what I'd been accustomed to. So I wanted to share that with you, and I hope that this is very helpful. And I hope that you will think about other ways to measure impact so that you're not just measuring revenue. Although I do want you to use revenue as a measure, but impact is far greater than revenue in most of our situations. So, all right, everyone. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for listening. Visit publichealthentrepreneurs.com to learn more.